new pussycat, welcome to my channel. My name's ejcownley, I'm a freelance copywriter and blogger, and today I'm going to be talking you through newsletters. I recently launched a newsletter. I say recently, it was probably 3 or 4 months ago now, and I thought it would be helpful for me to share everything I've learned along the journey. So if any of you guys are thinking of setting up a newsletter, you can know some of the things to expect, some of the things you might like to try, and some of the things you might not like to try. Before I get down on into it, I'd like to give a shout out to Sally Fox, who actually wrote either a newsletter or a blog post, I can't remember which it was, might have been a combo of the two, on this exact same topic. So I'll link her stuff below for you here. Some of the learnings that I took and used for my own newsletter came directly from what she had learned, so I'm going to pay it forward again and share it with you guys here. I also want to say, guys, it is fucking hot as balls today. I'm filming in July in the middle of the heat wave that we've just had, highest recorded temperatures ever in England, and I'm shiny as fuck and I'm sweating like under my boobs. So if you could just be nice in the comment section, or at least not think badly of me for being so moist throughout this video, I'd really appreciate it. Please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it, to maybe even consider subscribing, and if you are a veteran who has taken learnings from this channel and applied them in a real world setting, perhaps you would like to say thank you to me by buying me a coffee on Ko-fi. All the links for everything will be listed in the description box below, along with links for any resources or softwares or anything of note that I mention here in this video. It's all down there for you. If you have any questions, leave a comment. I love chatting with you guys down there in the comment section. And without further ado, let's get on with it before I fucking melt to death. So first thing to know, newsletters can be, for want of a better word, icky as fuck. There are softwares out there and newsletter softwares and platforms which allow you to track every fucking nuanced, minuscule metric involved with your newsletter. You will know how many subscribers you've got, what your open rate is, what your click-through rate is, what your unsubscribe rate is. On some platforms, right down to finding out how often your subscribers take a piss. You know, it's really nuanced data that is being collected through your newsletter. So I chose to take a leaf out of Sally Fox's book and choose a newsletter platform where there was no tracking whatsoever. So I currently send my newsletter with Button Down. Now I'm given to believe that it's a relatively new, fresh platform. A little bit buggy at times, I'll admit, but it helps me send a very basic newsletter to people without holding on to their data or tracking anything about them. Button Down does not exploit the data that they have from my list or anybody else's lists, and they're just pretty ethical where it comes to data and privacy. I'll leave a link to them below if you want to get into the nitty-gritty of it, but I chose them because I didn't want to fucking track everyone and see what everyone's up to. And the plus side of that, aside from giving everybody who's subscribed to me privacy, is that I am then not looking at those metrics myself. We'll get into more of that later on, but the key takeaway here is that newsletters can be kind of icky and gross depending on the provider that you go to for your send. So do just make sure that you check out whoever it is you're going to be sending with thoroughly before you commit to that. So the next thing I learned when starting my newsletter is that the thing you end up making might not necessarily be the thing that you thought you would make. So to take myself as an example, this year it was my goal to launch a feminist horror newsletter. It's called She's Got Guts, and I've already got all the artwork for it ready to go, and in fact I've even written the first newsletter, and that was going to be my plan for the year, launch my horror newsletter. And I kind of told my community about it, everyone was excited, I was like, this is what's happening. And then somebody called me out on Twitter and said, god damn, it would be really great if somebody launched a witchy newsletter and it could have this in it and that in it. And then somebody else jumped in and said, you know what, yeah, I'd really love that, at ejcownley. And then someone else came in and said that they also think that would be a great idea. And I was like, well, there's clearly a gap in the freelance writing newsletter market for something a bit more occult. So I went to my community and I was like, if I did this, would anyone actually be interested? And everyone was like, hell yes, I would be interested. Where's the first issue? And so that's what I ended up launching. At the beginning of the year, I launched the Copy Coven, which is a newsletter that combines writing and inspiration and creativity with kind of occult, witchy kind of fun stuff, and it's all based off of the back of the mini ebook that I launched at the end of last year called The Witchy Freelancer, and it just combines all of that along with some of the upcoming astrological correspondences. You get a tarot card of the month that will kind of help you for journaling or just for guiding your freelance journey, and also it contains all of these YouTube videos so that people never miss a video. You know, what's the latest videos that's come out? Alright, here you go. So turns out there was a gap in the market for that, which wasn't what I planned to make at all. So I guess on the one hand, the lesson is sometimes what you end up making is not what you thought you would end up making. I know a couple of people who have newsletters who have ended up tweaking it as they go because the demand becomes different as they go. And also listen to what the people want, you know, what they're asking for. Where's there a gap? What can you do that no one else can do? What can you give that no one else can give? And consider making a newsletter about that, because there are so many heckin' newsletters, and I know because I'm obviously friends with a lot of writers and I like to support them, so I sign up to every newsletter and I am besieged, and sometimes I do find it quite difficult to differentiate among them the topics and whatnot. So if you can find a way to stand out that is uniquely you, I say go for it. And don't forget to keep an ear to the ground with regard to what people are asking for and what they like about your newsletter and how you can improve it over time. That was a long one. Next thing is that you need to promote and then promote and then promote again. Back in the day, I would absolutely have been horrified at the thought of trying to promote myself or anything I've written or done, but self-promotion is not a one and done type situation. You always have to assume that not everybody saw that post that you wrote about it, and kind of keep finding new ways to bring it back into the conversation, to consistently promote it and find new ways to talk about it and link it back to other things, and just make sure that kind of people know what's going on and what's happening. And maybe you could even post snippets on social media or whatnot, or on your blog and link through to it, and just make sure that there are several touch points where you're mentioning it and have it kind of linked and you're talking about it all the time. But people need to see things a certain number of times before they convert. I think it's like 3 or 4 or something. So do make sure that you keep bringing it up, and eventually, you know, you can get your subscriber numbers up. Encourage people to share it if they liked it, and forward it on to a friend, or drop a little note at the bottom if you have been forwarded this. Would you like to consider subscribing? Here's the link. And always be promoting, because you really can get those numbers up over time. Don't do that first big push, oh my god, I'm launching this, it's so exciting, okay, I've got my initial subscribers and now I'm done. No, no, no. Every issue, promote the fuck out of that thing. Pretend that you are your own client and promote yourself like you would promote a client, basically. You've been told. The next thing I've learned about launching a newsletter is that you cannot look at the numbers, do not look at the numbers. Going back to point number 1, nothing tanks your self-confidence faster than looking at those fucking numbers. And I figured this out the hard way straight away. So I set my newsletter up with button down, was promoting it. I kept getting these emails through from the system saying, oh, such and such has subscribed. Got a new subscriber, new subscriber, new subscriber, and I was like,
oh my god, it's popping off, everyone's fucking subscribing.
Sent the very first issue, immediately got an email back from Button Down saying somebody had unsubscribed. Literally less than a minute after I'd sent that email. And I'm gonna say, nothing quite takes the shine off of launching a newsletter like an immediate unsubscribe. So yeah, I turned that feature off pretty quick. And now I try not to look at anything. I don't really know how many subscribers I've got, and I don't know when anybody unsubscribes, and I don't know how many people are actually opening it, and I don't really know anything. Because here's the thing, I write for my blog on my website, don't know how many people are going to read it, and I never really know how successful each post will be. And it's the same here on YouTube. I make something because I want to make it, I enjoy making it, I enjoy editing it, I put it out into the world. Christ knows how many people are actually going to watch it. Some videos that I think are shit have done really, really well, and some videos that I thought would be absolutely fucking fire have bombed out the arse. So you never really can tell, right? But with a newsletter, you've got the fucking number right there. 150 people, send to 150 people, and immediately you're aware of the fact that a fucking 150 people are going to get this in their inbox. Like now. It's like performing in front of a live crowd. I just can't fucking do it. I know how many people are going to be there. Don't like it. It's not for me. It starts to make the whole thing feel like a competition with myself, when really I want it to be something fun and creative and like a release, something for me, you know? Not in terms of I've got to be the best, I've got to beat myself, you know? Nah. So if you value your sanity and your creative don't look at the numbers. Don't do it. Fuck that shit. Unless you're planning to monetize your newsletter, in which case look at all those fucking numbers. But, you know, for me, nope. Final tip for launching a newsletter is to pipeline the shit out of that thing. Get several issues in the bag ready to go. Now, I understand if you're writing something that's personal and topical every week about here's what I learned this week, here's what I did this week, here's what's going on with me, maybe that's not going to necessarily work for you. Maybe just try and get as far ahead as you can. But for me, it's all pretty easy for me to get ahead of myself. I currently have 5 newsletters tucked away in my back pocket, and because they're monthly, I've got myself set, and in that way I've made the whole process very sustainable for myself. I'm able to be consistent, which is the number one key to success in anything that you're trying to do, consistency. And also it makes the whole thing fun and, you know, stress-free, rather than working down to the wire because I'm telling everyone that this is going out at midday and I'm not even halfway ready for it yet, you know? Pipeline your shit, guys. Pipeline and schedule it, and it will automatically go out. Schedule your promotional social media using something like Buffer, so you're promoting it on schedule, you're putting it live on schedule, everything's gone to schedule, and you haven't really even had to try. So pipelining is a great idea. I'm pipelining right now. I'm filming this video in the middle of a July heatwave, and it's not going to go live until probably the end of August. Actually, I think this video is going on live when I'm on a day off. So while you're watching this, I'm probably not in the office. Not even here right now. So that's everything I have learned as a newbie newsletter writer. Can you tell that the heat's really getting to me? Like, I'm feeling like my brain is mildly scrambled right now. I'm so freaking hot. I'm not built for this. I'm British, you know? I'm like a fucking sandwich bag full of suet. If you put that shit out in the sun, it just turns to grease. If you have any questions about anything I have discussed here today, as I said, leave a comment. I love to get into it. You can also find me on LinkedIn and Twitter. All of the links for that will be in the description box below, along with a nice little link tree, just in case you want to find me wherever else I am. And on that note, I'll see you back here, same time, same place in 2 weeks for more Kiss My A's. Take care, keep cool, peace out. Oh!